What's up guys, it's Gaz, welcome to the Warframe videos. So today we're going to be going over part 1 of 3 for this current Prime access. Atlas, Techo, and Dethcube Prime. We'll be going over them in order of how much I care about them, so we're going to be going over Dethcube Prime first, and his Death Machine Rifle Prime, because I am actually excited about those. So we're going to be going over 3 different things in this video, guys. First we're going to be going over how to mod Dethcube Prime. We'll be also going over how to mod his weapon, and then how to get the most out of his recently buffed Vaporize ability. So, here is the comparisons between Dethcube Prime and normal Dethcube. So Dethcube Prime has triple the armor of normal Dethcube. Also, 100 more health, which is a pretty big deal with survivability, because when you start putting on survivability mods, it starts scaling off of the base values, and it actually gives you a ton more survivability. This is what the thing looks like normally. I have this Caribous Dethcube skin on because I like how it looks. But here is the build, guys. So, a big thing on this is to make sure you're getting the precepts that you want. And the precepts are these mods right here. So that's the actual abilities for the Sentinel. So, me personally, I really value Vacuum very highly, so that will always be in my build. Primed Regen, this doesn't need to always be on the build, but if you plan on taking your Sentinel to a longer mission, you're probably going to want this. You could, for everyday missions, you could probably just take this off and maybe put Energy Generator in that slot, which is a mod that a lot of people like that I personally don't like very much, but it's up to you. We've also got Swift Death on here. That is going to make the Sentinel attack things that are within 25 meters. If you don't have Swift Death, because this is an old mod, Assault Mode does literally the same thing. So it's up to you, whichever one you have. But do keep in mind that the AI for these Sentinels is pretty inconsistent, it seems like, so keep that in mind. And then Vaporize right here, guys. So this ability is very crucial to use if you want to use Dethcube, in my personal opinion, because it says right here 600 damage to an enemy within 30 meters. What it doesn't say on the card, that actually has a 10-second cooldown, so it's going to use the ability once every 10 seconds. And that 600 damage actually scales with mods on your equipped Sentinel weapons. So it's funny, but you actually do kind of want a stat stick for your Vaporize if you want to go down the Vaporize route. So we will go over that in a bit. But as far as the build, guys, just making the Sentinel as tanky as possible, and also cramming on Prime Animal Instinct to give us some loot radar and enemy radar. So, Metal Fiber, Calculated Redirection, Enhanced Vitality, all going to up our shield and health values. We have almost 1,000 health, 315 armor. We also have Synth Fiber, so if we pick up a health orb, it increases our Sentinel's armor even more for 12 seconds. So that can make this guy pretty tanky. And then the Repair Kit, giving us a 6 per second heal on the Sentinel. With how much EHP we get from the Synth Fiber, it's going to be a pretty tanky cube, personally. Yeah, honestly, it is. Okay, and then, yeah, if you guys want to not run Swift Death, not have the Sentinel attack things, you could put either Medi-Ray there. There is also Sacrifice, if you like Sacrifice. Shield Charger. I know a lot of people like Energy Generator, like I said, but it's going to really be up to you if you want to run it or not. This is going to make... You're going to have the Sentinel attacking things to even get this to go off, so it's going to really be a toss-up, guys. Do you want this thing to attack? Because when it attacks, it draws more aggro, so you got to be a little bit careful on that. Okay, we'll be going over that in a second in some gameplay. And here's a Death Machine Rifle. Comparing it to the normal Death Machine Rifle, it's just a straight upgrade, guys. You can delete your normal Death Machine Rifle if you are someone that uses this, so you get double the crit chance, a higher fire rate, 4 times the status chance, which isn't really saying much because it goes from 1% to 4%, but still, it makes a difference. And then we have higher base damage overall. So just a straight up buff. Literally nothing is worse on the new one. So I might as well delete that after this. As far as the build, so this is the normal build. This is just if you want the Sentinel to be attacking things and killing things as normal. So we've got actually a crit build. So since this has 10% crit chance, throwing on Point Strike gets you to 25. Doesn't really look that great, but it does work decently well. I'd recommend some fire rate as well, because this thing has a spool up time. It's kind of like a Gorgon, so it starts chugging a little bit at the beginning, and then it will get fully spooled up into its full fire rate. So throwing on some Vital Acceleration, I found it to be very helpful for DPS. And we're also running Corrosive. So the reason we're running Corrosive is just because Corrosive is just generally pretty good against most stuff that you'll be fighting. And we'll be showing on some heavy gunners, and it's definitely good against the heavy gunners. If you were to not even care about the Sentinel shooting things, they have a stat stick build right here. This is for using the Vigilante Armaments set bonus, or Vigilante set bonus for that matter. This is actually going to apply from your Sentinel's weapon, this set bonus right here. It's going to work on your primary. So if I equipped my say I equip the Sobek, or for whatever. Whenever I get a crit with this, it's going to have a chance to become a orange crit, since I have this Vigilante bonus on my my Sentinel. Also, guys, keep in mind, it's a really dumb system, but it's still in the game. If you want to have a Serration, maxed out Serration on your Sentinel's weapon, you'd have a separate version for your Sentinel and for your actual primary. So it might end up being the case on here. So see, I have my Serration, this maxed out Serration is on my Vectis Prime, so I cannot use it at the same time on my Sentinel's weapon. So I'd have to actually get a different Serration and replace it. It's a really dumb system, but that's just how it is. Maybe someday they'll remove it so you don't need to have 2 maxed out copies of Serration to use a Sentinel weapon at the same time, okay? But until then, this is the stat stick build I use currently. This has a riven on it. You don't need a riven at all. You could just put high voltage in that slot. It would work just fine. But this thing does have high disposition and rivens, so you can get a pretty gnarly riven for this thing, and I actually am going to be looking for a crit riven in the future because of the buffed crit chance. And if you're going for a full vaporized build, I actually would not recommend the Death Machine Rifle as the actual weapon. You're going to want to get the Prisma Burst Laser, but this will still work. We'll show this in a second. Okay, let's show this guy on a level 50 gunner then. Alright, so level 50 to start off with. Not exactly anything crazy, but this is a Sentinel we're showing right here, guys, so it's not supposed to be a damage god. That's the Vaporize right there with the scaling damage from the mods, and now the Death Machine Rifle Prime is just... See, that fire rate was actually pretty effective there, and we are seeing basically no corrosive procs, guys. That's the 4% stash chance and effect there. If we were to bump it up to level, let's say, 80, like Kuva Flood, Swordish range, it's going to be a very similar situation with our current build, with no Riven and just corrosive and fire rate with some crits as well. See, the Vaporize does basically nothing to our health bar now, but this is what you're getting. Like, this is us not shooting at all. This is literally just the Sentinel doing all the work. And then as you see, like we get some corrosive procs in there. That makes the Vaporized Laser do more damage because their armor is removed. The Vaporized Laser is purely radiation, so you can't really change that, unfortunately. And see, the AI bugged out. It's like, I don't want to fire anymore. I'm going to be a pacifist now. I'm going to be Peace Cube instead of Death Cube. But, yeah, that's just a problem we have to deal with here, guys. It's not normally that bad in mission, but this is what I've got to show you. I'm also going to show you now. So, like, that's basically... It's to be expected. It's not exactly an amazing damage-dealing machine like I was hoping for, but let's actually show the Vaporized stat stick here. So, let's actually just do it. Let's show what Vaporized looks like without a weapon equipped, period. So this is just rock and base damage. It's going to be 600 damage on a... let's actually do an unarmored enemy so it you can actually see the health bar move. We'll do a Corrupted Moa. Alright, so we're going to spawn level 80 Corrupted Moa. We'll do it with no mods or no weapon, period. So let's see how much it does. Basically did nothing. That's 600 damage right there. That's what 600 damage looks like on a level 80 Moa. Now we're going to do it with a normal build. So we're not going to do the actual optimized Vaporized build. Doing the Death Machine Rifle. So we got just the one we were using before. So I'm actually going to take off Swift Death, so it's not going to shoot. It's just going to use the Vaporize ability only. And then we'll see. The damage is going to scale, but it's not going to be as high as we want it to be until we go full min-max. And I'll show you guys the unleashed power of Dethcube Prime in a few seconds, or a few minutes. So that's how it is with a normal build, guys. Did about, like, the entire shield pretty much. Didn't really hit the health at all. And in 10 seconds, it'll shoot another laser. If the AI doesn't bug out. There you go. That's the other laser. So, as you see, nothing too impressive, really. This is radiation damage. Has a slightly positive multiplier on this Moa. And it's really not, like, it's not one-shotting, is what I'm trying to say. It's not trying to one-shot it, or it's trying to one-shot, but it can't. Now, let's show a fully min-max build and what happens with this Moa. Well, actually, this is not fully min-max. This is as far as min-max as we're going to go on the Death Machine Rifle, because I'm not really planning to use this as a Vaporized stick in the future. So, don't worry about the ordering of your mods. It's just taking these mods. It says plus 90%. That's multiplying the 600 on the Vaporized ability. So we're getting every 90 we can throw on here. Heavy caliber. Multi-shot does not affect the damage of the beam, so don't throw on multi-shot on the build. It should one-shot this Moa. With this build, it potentially won't, but we'll show you a build that definitely will one-shot this Moa. And it will actually one-shot a level 165 Moa. So yeah, it did one-shot it, no problem. That's a optimized build there, guys. So if you want to fully maximize this damage, you actually want to use not the Death Machine Rifle, you want to use the Prisma Burst Laser. And the reason you want to use the Prisma Burst Laser, guys, is because it actually uses pistol mods. And pistol mods are actually slightly stronger than rifle mods. So, for example, Serration is like 165% damage. Hornet Strike is 220. It's 55% extra damage there. We've also got Augur Pact. We've got Magnum Force, etc., etc. So this is fully min-maxed, and this is going to one-shot level 165s. So let's actually show that. So I actually did get a special riven. Actually, before we show that, I got a special riven for this specifically, guys. I rolled this for this video, and that's with raw base damage and an elemental. The god roll for this, if you wanted to have a crazy vaporize build, you'd actually want to have raw damage, an elemental, punch through. So punch through. I'll explain why punch through is important in a second. And then we're also going to have minus reload. So the reason minus reload is good is because look at this. Prisma Burst Laser, 0.0 reload time. Negative reload literally does nothing to this. And I've had a negative reload driven in the past. It actually does nothing. Another thing, guys, and the reason we use this over the Stinger also uses pistol mods and has good Riven Dispo. But the funny thing is the Burst Laser actually has higher Dispo for whatever reason. Like, why do Sentinel weapons have Riven Disposition in the first place? Whatever. Let's spawn at level 165. That's not what you're supposed to do, Valkyr. Alright, so same Corrupted Moa, level 165, with a fully optimized build. Not a complete god roll Riven, but good enough. And it almost one-shot. So, it can one-shot some enemies. It didn't one-shot this enemy. I think we got a little bit unlucky, honestly. So, second laser. It's dead now. So let's actually get some butchers in. I'm going to show the problem and why I think punch through is actually pretty important here, guys. Okay, we're going to spawn in a couple of butchers. Let's just get like 4 of them. So the reason I consider punch through a pretty valuable stat on ribbons for whatever your vaporized stat stick is going to be is because the AI tends to target enemies that are behind other enemies if it has punch through on the weapon. So for example, it's probably just going to shoot this front one here. But if we had punch through on here, it's going to actually target the second one, and there's actually a cleaving ability on the laser now, so it's actually going to hit multiple enemies in a row. So as you saw, it's one-shot these level 165 butchers. Not exactly the most impressive thing in the world. My amp can actually one-shot these level 165 butchers, but still, I mean, as just a passive thing that it's doing every 10 seconds for you, it's pretty nice. And we unequipped the gun ability right now, so it's just using the laser. So yeah, you could actually have it do both of those at the same time, guys. And it does do both of them pretty reliably. Like I said, the AI is pretty bad. We just had it stop attacking there again. So that's kind of what's holding it back, in my personal opinion. And the fact this is not a Suida, so it's not giving me double Kuva sometimes. That's what's kind of hurting me from using this in the long run. But as far as damage is concerned, guys, I mean, if we were to summon a level 165 heavy gunner, it's not going to do like anything to her health bar. On a butcher, yeah, I can one-shot it. But once we get like a ton of armor in here, let's actually summon her, and then we're going to actually put the gun mod back on. So it's actually going to be shooting with corrosive bullets. Alright. Which one was it? Swift Death. Switch this build to corrosive. So like, this is not normally what you'll be doing, because we're actually just going full stat stick on here. But let's see how it works. I've actually never even tested this myself, so it's a brand new test right here. Now, as far as energy conversion, or energy generator, guys, I don't really consider it worth my time. It is nice to some people, but yeah, see, like, this is a complete stat stick build. You don't want to be using this for damage. So, as far as energy generator, I'm going to say, if you want to use it, sure. But do keep in mind, it needs to be attacking things, and then putting punch through on your build in that situation when you're using energy generators actually going to be really valuable. So, definitely keep that one in mind. What did I mess up on this build? I can't fit that on anymore. Whatever. So, you actually would probably just put energy generator maybe up here, and it should work. So, every 10 enemies it shoots at, and like gets damage on something, then it's going to give you an energy orb to, like, it's going to just drop an energy orb on top of you. So that can be pretty nice for some people. If you're doing that, definitely throw a punch through on that build. And definitely don't do a full stat. Like, if you're not using Vaporize, do not build something like this at all. Like, 100%, guys. It's not good if you're not using a Vaporized stat stick. But if you are using a Vaporized stat stick, it does decent damage. So, overall, would I recommend this to you guys to build and to fully form out? I would say 100% no. It's not worth it. It is a good Sentinel. It's probably one of the best Sentinels in the game. But the thing is, Worm Prime, I think, is better than this. And the reason I think Worm Prime is better than this, guys, is because I am never having a damage issue in this game with, like, I'm never like, oh crap, I wish my companion was doing damage right now, like, I just can't deal with these enemies. No, it's never like that. It's always like, okay, well, the enemies are shooting me, and I'm like getting like magnetic proc or whatever. I'm getting like poisoned, etc. That's why I consider Worm Prime much more valuable. Yeah, it has a little bit less health than Dethcube, but this ability right here, guys, the negate ability, every 5 seconds I negate a status effect. That's amazing. Every 5 seconds. Vaporize is every 10 seconds, and if you don't have a fully optimized stat stick for it, it does only 600 damage. It's pretty terrible if you don't optimize it. So I consider Worm Prime more valuable, and I'd say maybe invest into this if he becomes unvaulted anytime soon. But, you know, I mean, it's not like Dethcube is a piece of trash. It's definitely... The buffs to Vaporize were really nice, and if you like Energy Generator, I'm sure you probably already built them, and you're already using them right now. So, yeah, guys, I hope that you found this video helpful. Definitely, if you're looking to optimize that Vaporize, it is pretty fun to do, honestly. Like I said, God Roll, raw damage, an Elemental. It doesn't matter which Elemental it is, because it doesn't change the Elemental type of Vaporize. It's always going to be just pure Rad, and you can't change that no matter what you do. Maybe if you were to, like, use... what's that? Like some of those elemental buffing mods, it could potentially work, but I haven't actually tested that yet. I just thought of it right now. Yeah. Base damage, elemental, punch through if you're lucky, and then minus reload is the complete God roll. Okay? I will talk to you guys soon. We will have the Techo video tomorrow. They're actually surprisingly good, actually. I'm pretty happy with how the Techo's working out, so I will see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully you found it fun and informative. Please like, share, subscribe. And I will see you guys very soon. Peace.